Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the podcast known as The Life I'm Lovin'. I am your host, Vincent. Here with me is my co-host, as always, the furriest little mammal in the room, Scarlett the dog. Today is a good day. It's been raining the past week or so, and it's been kind of nuts, but I'm looking out my window and it looks like the background from Toy Story where it's all blue and you got those big old white clouds. Knock on wood that me mentioning that doesn't turn the sky gray within the next 5 minutes, but I'm really enjoying seeing the sky and the sun more than before. I know Californians, always complaining about the rain. I like the rain. I don't like the whole driving process in the rain. I don't see why anyone would. To each their own. Sitting at a window, watching the rain, listening to the rain, top tier. Driving in the rain, on the freeway, with water splashing up against your windshield as cars' lights go red, and then lighter red, and then dark red, and then lighter red because they're stopping and going. Not a fan. So today's a good day. It's a good day to record. It's a good day to be one with nature. And by one with nature, I mean sitting in a room with the windows closed, doors closed, looking out a window and seeing nature. Isn't that great, Scarlett? Judge me if you must, Scarlett, but you're over here eating a fake piece of wood that tastes like peanut butter. So you tell me who's more one with nature. Today's episode, I think, is a fun one. February tends to bring around a few things. First of all, it tends to bring around the shortest month of the year. I don't know why. I didn't Google it, not going to, but I don't like it. Why is this month the shortest month? And why is this month the only month where every 4 years it adds an extra day? When is day 32 in 1 month going to be a thing? Heck, when is day 27 going to be a thing? If you can have a leap year, can you have a fallback year? These are the things, people. These are the things. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Thing 2, it brings the Super Bowl. Usually it used to be the first weekend of February. They moved it to the second weekend of February. Per my last episode, they added an extra game to the regular season for NFL football. If you guys aren't aware of what the Super Bowl is, not a toilet, not a huge bowl of cereal, not the biggest bowling tournament in the country, although that would be cool to see. Thirdly is Valentine's Day. And what's cool about this year, this month, is that you have the Super Bowl, which is the 11th, and then 3 days later, you have Valentine's Day, which is the 14th. Now, as a youth, the idea of Valentine's Day, I'm gonna be honest, was a little annoying. It was very overwhelming. I thought, I had to find a Valentine, and if I didn't, then I didn't spend Valentine's Day the right way. Not true at all. But I will say that was more of my middle school, high school area. That was my thought process. Before that, I was just a fan of getting a lot of little cards that had fun characters on them during school. Some of them having candy. Yes. Lollipops, jelly beans, things of that nature. Great day to be in school, Valentine's Day. You're gonna skip any day of school? Go ahead, don't skip Valentine's Day. A lot of love coming your way, a lot of calories coming your way, a lot of cavities possibly coming your way. But that's the fun. You fall in love with the sugar, the funny cards. And then, you get into middle school and everything gets real steel and you have to start thinking about love. And that's when Valentine's Day just became a frantic race to find a companion for 24 hours. And it didn't, I don't think it ever really worked out. Besides, of course, when I had a girlfriend. And to be honest, I wish I would have had a different mindset when it came to Valentine's Day. I think even though I am happily married and been with Jen for 6 years, if I hadn't, I would want to believe that I would be wise enough to spend the holiday in a much different fashion than how I thought it had to be spent. With those 3 things in mind, I'm going to talk about 2 of them for this episode. This episode is all about the love of football and the love of love. Am I right, people? It's a great week to be a football fan and love. If you love anything, person, place, thing, Valentine's Day is a good holiday for you. And I'll tell you why, but I want to start off with football because to me, football is ahead of Valentine's Day in the calendar. For those of you who celebrate Valentine's Day prior to the Super Bowl, I don't know what to tell you because that is just simply not accurate. The Super Bowl to me, and I think as time goes on, you're going to realize that as much as I want to talk about everything, I'm going to have more power in talking about everything when I bring people on the episodes. Of course, that's going to take time. I'm going to need to really enhance my space. I'm going to have to get another chair. In time, I'll be able to really broaden the topics that I speak about, but for now, I'm talking about things that affect me, things that I've gone through in my life. And if you've listened to my episodes, football is kind of a big deal, folks. At least in my life. I grew up around football. I've played football for almost half my life, and it was weird because at some point in time, football was my life, where I had no idea what I was going to do without football. So the Super Bowl has always been a big deal to me, but not from when I can remember, but it took a couple years for me to realize that the Super Bowl is worth watching. At 4 years old, I played flag football, but I don't think I really understood the concept of football. I don't remember much besides me playing a game and grabbing someone's flag and getting really excited about it. I don't know if they had the ball. I don't know if I was on offense or defense when I grabbed the flag. All I know is I grabbed a flag and I felt good about it. I remember that I was on the Raiders and then the Broncos year 2. 2 years of flag football. Obviously, my parents were putting me in stuff to enhance my people skills, my athleticism, things of that nature. You know, the reasons that parents put their kids in sports. 2, put them in something that will exert energy so that when we come home, we're all tuckered out from a long day of running around in the sun. There were 2 Super Bowls that took place during that time, and I don't remember too much from them, but I do remember some key highlights. I want to go over what the Super Bowl specifically brings to the table in terms of the 5 senses. You go to a Super Bowl party, you watch the Super Bowl, and you have a meal, all 5 of your senses will be popping. If you're open to having a great time, being around good people, if that's where you place yourself, enjoying some really good food. You don't eat salad during the Super Bowl. You might eat salad, but it's not something that is like, oh, it's Super Bowl. Let's have a nice strawberry and walnut spring salad. That's not the case, people. That's not the case. Scarlett really enjoys that salad, so she took it personal. Sorry, but you're not gonna have spring salad on the Super Bowl either. When it comes to the thoughts that came to my head regarding the first Super Bowl that I remember, I take it back to January 28th, 2001. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I didn't know about the Super Bowl. I was 5 years old. I didn't know much about anything. But at the end of every school year, they give out a yearbook. And that yearbook usually says, oh, what happened, this year, year-end review type of deal. And all the pop culture things come up on the back of the book. And for some reason, it's the only section of the book that's in color. I don't know, whatever, or at least it was back in the day. My kindergarten, I think all the way up until 3rd grade, the pictures were black and white. Then we started getting them colors, the color scheme in that game. And so I don't know if this was my kindergarten year, because the Super Bowl took place in 2001, or if it was the first grade year, which ended in 2002, but then they did a 2001 review. I don't know, too far back, don't feel like getting my yearbooks out, but I noticed this section of the book, this back of the book, and I saw that the Ravens had won the Super Bowl. Didn't know the quarterback that was in the Super Bowl, didn't know who the Ravens played, found out it was the Giants, and they crushed them. What was it, 35-7, 34-7? The only thing that I recall from that Super Bowl is seeing that page of the year in review with the Ravens on it, specifically Ray Lewis, and that was it. That was my first memory of my first Super Bowl. Year 2, we fast forward, February 3rd, 2022, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. Who would have thought? Didn't know who Tom Brady was at the time. I was 6. I do remember the Rams players that they played in the Super Bowl. It was a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. Patriots won 20-17, but I do recall Marshall Faulk, who was the running back for the Rams, Isaac Bruce, and Torrey Holt, who were both wide receivers for the Rams. Initially, off the top of my head, I thought it was going to be Kurt Warner in the Super Bowl, but I guess it was Mark Bulger. I don't know, fam. I was 6. That is what it is. Year 3 is January 26, 2003. And this is a year where I think my emotions started getting involved in football, specifically the Super Bowl. Because that year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers laid waste to my dad's favorite team, the Oakland Raiders, 48-21. Like I've said in episodes past, my dad is a huge Raiders fan. That Raiders team, that Raiders era, I actually knew a good amount of the players. I knew Rich Gannon, who was the quarterback. I even know Zach Crockett, who was the running back for the Raiders. Tyrone Wheatley was a running back for the Raiders. You had Tim Brown, Jerry Rice. I only know this name because it was a really fun name to say. Linebacker for the Raiders, Bill Romanowski. Love it. Also, the Raiders had like the 2 best kickers of that generation in our homeboy, Sebastian Janikowski, kicker for the Raiders, and then Shane Leckler, punter for the Raiders. Both of them rated like 99 in Madden. I do remember that. I thought that was so weird to have like your best players. Jerry Rice was older. He was, he wasn't 49ers Jerry Rice. I'll give them that. Jerry Rice goes to the Raiders. He's like, wow, there's 2 people that are rated higher than me in Madden on this team, and both of them are kickers. Who would have thought? To let you guys know the difference between a punter and a kicker, for those of you who don't know. Kicker does the kickoffs, does the field goals, kicks the ball when it's on a tee or being held up by another player. The punter punts the ball himself. The center will snap the ball to him, throw the ball between his legs to the punter. Punter will catch it. He'll hold it and kick it with his leg up in the air, hopefully going forward. The Raiders had the best kicker and punter in the NFL. Who would have thought? But the main reason that emotion really ran wild in my soul that year was because of the year prior, the Raiders lost to Tom Brady's Patriots. After that game, the Raiders were trying to figure out, how are we going to get to the Super Bowl next season, etc., etc. So was another team that was across the country in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had recently fired their head coach because they made the playoffs 4 times. They didn't get to the Super Bowl. In a very rare instance, the Raiders actually traded their head coach, John Gruden, to the Buccaneers, which I thought was wild. I didn't realize that coaches could get traded. It doesn't happen very often at all. So I guess, in a way, this is the Raiders' fault, because their head coach becomes the Buccaneers' head coach. And that following season, who do the Raiders meet in the Super Bowl? That's right, Scarlett. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were facing their former head coach. And now, yes, they had a year to prepare, but I can't believe that the entire system changes just like that. There's got to be some things that the Raiders kept and instilled in their players that they like from John Gruden. Obviously, he's a playoff coach. He was taking his team, the Raiders, to the playoffs. He took the Buccaneers to the playoffs. Obviously he was doing something right. So they end up meeting in the Super Bowl, and in my opinion, it's like, that stinks, man. Because John Gruden is going to know like 80-90% of what the Raiders do, when they do it, and why they do it. But the Raiders know very little about what the Bucs do, why they do it, and how they do it, besides what they see on film. Like, they had the inside scoop. They had a little cameraman hiding in the bushes, if you know what I'm saying. I just remember that year just being like, Okay, all right, I'm getting too into it. So that's really where emotion started building in me about these Super Bowls, how the momentum and the prominence of these games, how much they meant, how much the stories building up on these teams getting to this game mean. And then you have 2004, February 1st, 2004. And this is where my individuality came into play. The Patriots made it again. Who would have thought? Tom Brady continuing to be a success. Who would have thought? They beat the Panthers 32-29. This year, I remember actually being at a Super Bowl party. I remember my aunt making a mean 7-layer dip. Oh, stop. 7-layer dip. Let me just, off the dome, I'm going to try and name 7 layers that would be in a dip. So you have your beans, you have your cheese, you have your salsa, you have your sour cream, you have your guac, you have your olives. I'm at six. Okay, recap. Beans, cheese, sour cream, guac, salsa, olives. Oh, that's gonna haunt me forever. Maybe a second kind of beans. So you got refried beans, black beans, salsa, sour cream, guac, cheese, olives. 7 layers. Count them. 7 marshmallows. Reference, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, get involved. So this party, I remember it. I remember the dip. And what I remember about the Super Bowl is I do remember both teams that played. I remember the Patriots playing. I remember the Panthers playing. The Panthers really caught my eye. I'd never really paid attention to a lot of other teams, but there was something about the Panthers that really just got my jimmies rustled. And it was simply their jerseys. I really, really enjoyed their jerseys, the color scheme of their jerseys. If you don't know, the Carolina Panthers, their logo is a panther. It's like the face of a panther. Looks very intimidating. And their colors are silver, black, and then this like bright, almost baby blue type color. That baby blue color, man, it just, it gives me goosebumps even now, because I'm thinking about seeing this baby blue color for the first time in my life. Gonna be honest with you guys, I love all shades of blue. Blue is my favorite color. As much as I want to say, like a midnight navy blue is my favorite color, I am a sucker for a mean sky blue. I'm a sucker for a mean aquamarine, which has a little more green in it, but all sorts of blue, I'm cool with you. That was nice, huh, Scarlett? Year 5. Year 5, ladies and gentlemen. February 6th, 2005. The Patriots, oh wow. Who would have thought? You'll never guess who their quarterback was. Yeah, it was Morgan Freeman. JK, it was Tom Brady. But who they played, is the focal point of this pretty much entire story because it leads to this. It took me 5 years to build to this moment right here. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, February 6, 2005, faced Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook, Terrell Owens, Jeremiah Trotter, Javon Curse, Brian Dawkins, aka Weapon X, Big Red, at the time his name was Big Green, Andy Reid as their head coach. Tom Brady and the Patriots played the Philadelphia Eagles. That was my season, ladies and gentlemen. The ability of Donovan McNabb being a running quarterback. The fierceness of Javon Curse on the edge. He was a defensive end. My favorite defensive player back then. Big Andy Reid, just a big, mellow dude with a cool mustache. They went 13-3 that year. And the only reason they went 13-3 is because T.O. ended up breaking his leg and sitting out the last 2 games. Don't fact check me on any of this. I may have notes, but I'm not a supercomputer. That was the year I became an Eagles fan. That was the year that everything came together. That was my first whole Super Bowl. Then I sat and I was like, you know what? This is my team. So this is what I'm telling you, people. It took me 5 years to find my team and get invested in the Super Bowl. And in 5 years, football can do the same for you. Just give it a chance. Just give it approximately 1,500 days of watching football and playing football every year, and I'm sure you'll be a fan, whether you want to or not. You have the build-up from one Super Bowl to the next, but you also have the 5 senses really being pushed to their limits on this day. You have taste, nachos, 7-layer dip, burgers, pizza, hot wings, arguably my fave. You have an assortment of dips, onion dip, Cool Ranch, 7-layer dip, and you can deconstruct that dip and you can make a cheese dip. You can make salsa. You can make guacamole. You can make a bean dip. Chips, carrots and celery on occasion, a nice, what was it, Scarlett? A strawberry walnut spring salad. Thank you for noticing I remembered, Scarlett. I appreciate that. You know what? Maybe you will have a spring salad for the Super Bowl. But you have taste. Second, you have touch. You're one with your couch. You are one with your remote. You are one with the people that are rooting for the same team as you. Y'all are high-fiving, giving each other belly bumps, hugs. It's a lot of great vibes. If you go to a certain house and they have a dog, excitement level times 10, you have sight. Of course you're watching the game, but you have the commercials. You know how much money these companies spend to make a really fun, enticing commercial for the Super Bowl? You have the halftime show. Michael Jackson's done it. Justin Timberlake ripped Michael Jackson's sister's shirt at a Super Bowl once. You got Rihanna, Super Bowl last year. This year, you have Usher. Yeah, I know, Scarlett. You're more of a fan of OMG by Usher, but I'm a yeah man. You have smell. Guys, come on. The smells of the Super Bowl, the smell of the green grass freshly cut when you're out there playing catch with your boys, the smell of the wings being taken out of the oven. Come on. The smell of the pizza just getting here after you close the door on the man who made the effort to drive and drop those pizzas off to you. The burgers on the grill, the hot dogs on the grill, the corn. Come on. You gotta smell that corn. You smell that corn? Smell the corn, ladies and gentlemen. Give the corn a shot. And then you have sound. Obviously, I can revert back to sight. You got the halftime show. You've got the chaos of the fans. You have the commentary. You have the quarterbacks that you can hear them calling the plays. You can sometimes get, up close and personal with the players, and you can hear what they're saying on the field. You have the conversations that are going on, the betting props of who's going to win what quarter and who's going to win the coin toss, and is Travis going to propose to Taylor at the end of the game? There's so much to talk about. There's so much to hear. There's so much to see. There's so much to taste. There's so much to feel. And there's so much to smell. Even if you don't like football, if you like a good time, find a Super Bowl party and get all up in there, fam. You don't even have to watch the Super Bowl. Not every person there is invested in football. You got people in the back that are talking about, again, you have the halftime show where a lot of people get excited about. And you also have the people who are pointing and laughing at the people who are yelling at a television about a game that literally doesn't affect their life at all, unless they put a lot of financial assets into the betting of the game. Then, you might have some crying, you might have some breaking of objects at the end of the game, but you can just point and laugh, and it'll be all right. It's just a good time. And even if your favorite team is not in the Super Bowl, like mine, maybe there's a sibling who's in the Super Bowl, and one of your favorite players is going to be there, aka Jason Kelsey. What's up? Maybe your team's not in the Super Bowl, but maybe the team you hate is in the Super Bowl, and you want to see them lose in the biggest game of them all. Isn't that nice? Isn't that really nice, Scarlett? Maybe your favorite team isn't a football team. You can still go and eat a bunch of food, be around great people, and be around a lot of loud noises. Doesn't that sound nice? I think that sounds like a divine experience. Give it a shot, people. Find a house that's loud on Sunday. Walk in. See if you're invited. See if they push you away, or if you go to that door, they open it and you say, I heard someone mention football, so I came running. Remember the Titans quote, if you don't know. See if they close the door on you. See if someone watching the Super Bowl closes the door on someone that says, hey, I'm just here to watch some football. You will probably be greeted with a beer and a chair immediately. I'm not recommending that you break and enter to any home. I'm just saying, a lot of people are in good moods on Super Bowl Sunday. And so we move on. We move on to 3 days later, Valentine's Day. Now, as I was saying before, as a youth, I think Valentine's Day brings a lot of pressure. You watch a lot of television, cartoons, things of that nature. Valentine's Day is always about spending it with a significant other. And again, I wish my outlook on Valentine's Day was different. I will say I think I was very blessed because even if I didn't get that communication with that special someone that I was waiting on, there was one person that always gave me a little extra love that day, and that was my mother. She would get us candy, she would give us a card, she would give us, maybe a few bucks here and there, but she always made it a point to let us know that we were her Valentines, my brother and I. And I'm very grateful for that, because I know that even though I probably didn't notice it back then, it 100% softened the blow of what I was trying to make Valentine's Day as a child. So, thank you very much for being my Valentine, even when I was trying to find another one. And I appreciate you really expressing your love that way. It really helped a lot throughout my childhood. And so you have the modern day Valentine's Day. On the radio, Ryan Seacrest, Kiss FM, if you guys listening to it on the way to work, they actually had a segment where there was this woman who actually told about a bunch of parties that are going on for people who don't have Valentines, significant others. a bunch of like singles parties for Valentine's Day. Hit up one of those things. To me, Valentine's Day is all about love, of course, but in terms of the love that you are giving on that day, I think that should be completely up to you. I think Valentine's Day is a day where you express love in general, whether that be to a significant other, whether that be to a parent, whether that be to a sibling, a family member, a friend. Maybe it's to the person that is looking in the mirror. Maybe it's to the person that when you look down, they ask for a treat. Valentine's Day, to me, nowadays, is simply the holiday of love. Make it an effort to do something that you want to do. And if that's for someone else, do it. Valentine's Day can be an expensive holiday, of course, but if you're with the right person, again, no matter who that is, no matter how many legs they walk on, it's fine. It'll be cool. Jen and I have had very expensive holidays that we've spent together that we've loved, and we've had making dinner at home and watching Netflix holidays that we've loved, and pretty much everything in between the past 6 years. It's just spending time with the person you want to spend time with. And even if that's yourself, run a nice bath. Get those bubbles bubbling. Get a little champagne, get some candles going. If you don't drink, get some cider. Nice big bottle of Fiji water. Vibe out. Get dressed. Go to a nice outdoor mall, have some dinner, buy some clothes. Do you on Valentine's Day. Make it a day to just be like, I'm a splurge. What is it? You have Parks and Recreation? Treat yourself. Valentine's Day should be renamed to Treat Yourself. Not even Treat Yourself Day. Just treat yourself. When you greet people in the streets, you don't say Happy Valentine's Day. Say treat yourself. Scarlett, treat yourself. Okay, you can use your own money for that. I'm not going to partake in that. You know what? Better yet, ask your mother. She'll treat you. It's fine. But I really wish I had this mindset growing up. I really wish that when I was younger, instead of trying to find a Valentine, I was trying to find myself in the 3 for $1 Valentine's Day chocolate section. Right? That would have been fun. Go home, play some video games, eat some chocolate. Vibe out, 9-year-old, 10-year-old me. What are you doing? What are you thinking? That's the problem. I wasn't thinking. Or I was thinking too much. We'll never know. That was nearly 20 years ago. All I know is this week is a really fun week. Find yourself a Super Bowl party. Even if you don't like football, if you like the company of others, you like good food, find a Super Bowl party and vibe out. Have some fun. Jump through a few tables if you need to. Crush some beer cans on your head. Whatever makes you happy. And then in a couple days, if that makes you happy, do it again. Rewatch the Super Bowl. Jump through another table. You know what? Set it on fire this time. Do what you want to do. And don't be afraid to do things last minute when it comes to Treat Yourself Day, aka Valentine's Day. It's already been renamed. I've already put in a ticket in the suggestion box of Town Hall, so it's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. So on Treat Yourself Day, don't be afraid to do things last minute. And what I mean by that is, you got the flowers and the chocolates, of course. Everyone wants to do something a little nice for their significant other. And, maybe you already got that stuff equipped. Maybe you're a great planner, and more power to you, fam. I am not a great planner. On Valentine's Days past, I go to the grocery store. You will see a lot more men than normal at the grocery store, usually in their work attire around 4 or 5 p.m., 6 p.m. area. And they'll all be in a few aisles. Flower aisle, wine aisle, meat department, candy aisle. And most of them are all going to be like on their phone, most likely trying to look up what their significant other's into. And I've done this the past couple years. Like last year I went after work to the store. Jen was working a little late, so I was like, hey, my time to shine. I found myself in the wine aisle with like 3 other guys on their phone trying to remember what the name of the wine that Jen liked. Specifically, they were all looking for wine that Jen was into, because I asked them to help me out. So we had 4 brains trying to find out the name of one wine. I'm kidding. That didn't happen. It was just me. And so I figured it out. It was Miomi. But then, ladies and gentlemen, I found out there was different types of wine by Miomi. There was the Cab, and there was the Pinot Noir. And I think that's when I waved the white flag and I asked for help. So which one's better? I think that person said the Pinot Noir, and honestly, I love the Miomi Pinot Noir now. It's a great suggestion. I really appreciate it. Granted, it was for Jen, but if I can't have a little fun, then what are we doing here? So I got her some wine, got her some flowers. There was only like 5 or 6 bouquets left, so obviously I picked the best one. And then I was walking around, I was like, okay, I got two pieces of the puzzle. What's this third thing? What's this third thing that just really, really takes the cake? And that's when it hit me. Macaroons. I walked by and I saw some heart-shaped macaroons. I was like, wow. Wow, Scarlett. Never tried a macaroon in my life. I've tried macarons, the coconut macarons, but then macaroons are those fancy pastries. Never tried them before. So like, you know what? They're heart-shaped. They're pretty general flavors, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, etc. Let's experiment tonight. Let's experiment with some macaroons. So I got the macaroons. Loved them. They were delicious. I don't remember what Jen thought of them, but I really enjoyed them. But I was doing this with a store full of people who don't normally go to the store. And it was a really fun experience. I did not feel alone at all, because I knew everyone was just as confused and picking things off the dome, trying to think that they could maneuver this holiday in such a way where their significant others are happy by the end of it. And I hope they all succeeded, because I would like to think that I succeeded. I guess we don't know unless Jen comes on here and says that I succeeded, but still waiting on that, aren't we? Do you feel my stare? I'm staring at my phone right now, because I'm staring through the phone at you, Jen. Hop on here. Tell me if you enjoyed your Valentine's Day in 2023. Specifically, you don't have to tell me about any other Valentine's Day. Maybe next year, Scarlett. Maybe next year. But that being said, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed Scarlett and I talking football, talking love, talking Valentine's Day, aka treat yourself. We're going to be back next week, Friday, 7 a.m. with another episode. You're going to have no idea what's going to be said throughout the episode. But if it means anything, neither do we. So with that being said, I want you guys to have a great week. Enjoy some great company. Enjoy some great food. Enjoy some great sounds, sights, smells, tastes. What's the 5th one? Touches? Enjoy some great touches, y'all. And most of all, don't forget to enjoy yourself. Whatever you guys are doing this week, enjoy yourself. Have a great time. put yourself in a position to feel positive. Because even though the Eagles are not in the Super Bowl, I'm going to feel positive. Too much? Too much. Okay. I'll end on that note. Thank you for listening. Continue to live a life worth loving. Take care.